everybody. Welcome back to editing a Vivaldi Violin Concerto every day to raise awareness for the fact that all our musicians are out of work until, September at the moment, but I kind of eat my hat if our September concerts go ahead as well, judging by how things are going. Anyway, I'm seriously impressed apparently that there were 54 people who watched the video yesterday. So obviously people have got a lot of time on their hands to wonder about what violin concertos I'm editing. If there's enough demand for it, when the lockdown's over, I will do a series of videos on the greatest train spotting destinations of the British Isles. How's that? Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Anyway, yesterday's concerto in E flat RV 251. It was a very, very good piece. The last movement considerably easier than the first movement, technically speaking. We'll give it an 8.5. Interestingly, that came from the volume known as FOA 30 in Turin, part of Vivaldi's personal collection. Now, then, if you have a look at the last page of there's the last page of the concerto, where, as is very common with Vivaldi, he finishes the last solo and then says DC al Segno. So basically go back to the first ritornello of this movement, to the sign, the hashtag sign, and then finish at the sign with the pause mark, the fermata. So that saved Vivaldi from writing the final ritornello out. Then, this is the last concerto in the volume. However, there is one more page, which is quite interesting if you have a look at this. If you turn over the page, there is, occasionally one finds little snippets that Vivaldi has written of the opening bars or opening bar of certain pieces. I'm assuming, for instance, this one here, that is the opening, those three notes, the opening to the concerto for the Feast of St. Lawrence in F major for violin and strings. Incidentally, that is another work that's going on the La Serenissima Extra Time album out in July. This one here is the opening of a double violin concerto in D major. Interestingly, the only source that we have for this piece is in an Amsterdam collection of concerti. This one is a C major concerto. This one here is an opening to an operatic sinfonia, though it's quite possible that he also might have composed a violin concerto that started like that as well. For instance, there's the opening to the Sinfonia of l'Olympiade has been transformed into a fiddle concerto. But most interestingly is this one here, the two Fs, a high F and a low F, particularly considering the key signature. There is only one Vivaldi violin concerto in F minor, that is Winter, but maybe there was at least one other. F minor was a fairly sort of extreme key to compose in back then, because of all the flats. But so maybe he did write another one, but that has been lost, unfortunately. Now then, today we move back to E minor, and the next we did RV 273 last week, or the week before, can't remember. So it's 274, except 274's been chucked out of the catalogue because it's not by him. So we go to 275, which is a strange piece. It survives, here we are, as this is the 12th concerto of a pirated edition by Roger in Amsterdam in 1716 of 12 concertos by any Italian composer he could get his hands on. Two of Vivaldi, there's some Albinoni, there's some Valentini, there's, anyway. I remember playing this. It also survives as in a manuscript in the hand of Graupner, the Darmstadt musician, and he says you can play it on the flute as well. Interesting that some of the solos are stuck up an octave for the flute, and I remember doing this years ago with Katie Bircher, our flute player, and I thought it was really rubbish. Really, really, really rubbish. I mean, but I thought, well, it hasn't been chucked out the catalogue yet, so we've got to do it. So I've started. I've finished the slow movement. Started on the last movement. I think actually, I think the source is riddled with mistakes. Particularly, I mean, the slow movement is just nuts. There's all sorts of accidentals, rhythms, things that are wrong. It's a bit of a shame that there are no sources that sort of close to Vivaldi that give this piece, because I have a feeling there are phrases and things in the top part that work really nicely, but when it comes to the harmonisation, oh dear, here comes my daughter again. It's a bit on the sort of drab side, but yeah, it is the first ritornello. There you go. Not one of his most inspired ritornelli, I have to say, but there you go. The publication date for this is 1716, so it's definitely an early piece. I do have a vague memory from all those years ago that the last movement was a bit better. I've just got onto the last movement, so anyway, fingers crossed. I mean, it's all right. Just there are better concertos to do. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye.